Right. Yo, what's going on, guys? Reese here from MoreThanLifting with the MoreThanLifting podcast. Conversations about calisthenics, well, get them out of the way. Calisthenics, bodyweight training, gymnastics, all that good stuff. I'm Reese, a personal trainer from the UK and founder of MoreThanLifting. And in this episode 98, is it 98? We're talking about supplements. So we're talking about what options you have, what you might need, the kind of things that I use, and what you might want to look into to help optimize your performance, health and nutrition, sleep, brain, life, everything. Okay, so let me just make sure I've got my notes. I'm trying to be a little bit more organized with these guys, by the way, just a heads up. Sorry for people on Instagram. I know I'm not looking at the camera for you guys, but if you are watching here, you could just chuck your comments in the thing. I'm looking at this camera, the one I'm actually recording on, because that's the one that's going to YouTube and Twitch, basically. Monitoring chats of various kinds, or at least trying my best to. And that's it. So we're going to dive straight in on this, guys, because there's a lot to cover. First thing, right, this episode of the podcast brought to you with On It Labs. You can get your hands on some nice, tasty alpha brains. You can go to morethanlifting.com/get-on-it to get involved with that. Absolutely amazing supplement. We're going to talk about nootropics later, but these are basically brain supplements. They make your brain function better, make you more alert, more focused, help you concentrate when you're doing your tasks, help you just consider what's going on. I can't really explain it. They make your brain super fast. Absolutely amazing product. Actually, you know what? We'll get onto that in a bit and get too excited about these things. So let me just grab my notes back up again. So, basically, supplements are anything that you use to supplement your diet or to help feed any part of your body, whether it's to improve your sleep or whether it's to improve your anything from gut health to brain function and basically anywhere in between. And basically, the main options that people generally consider are things like a multivitamin and protein powder. And both of them are great options, obviously, and although you don't necessarily need protein, I would recommend just having a multivitamin. I use these ones from My Protein. They're super easy. It says you need two. I tend to think that I eat quite well, so instead of having two of them every day, I just have one. And I generally, are there any calories in here? I don't think so. I don't think there are any calories. There better not be, because I have these all the time. So you should be able to have, it doesn't say, you should be able to have these on a fast, although it does say to take them with food. But generally, I just have them mid-morning before I break my fast, just to keep everything working properly. You're generally a little bit depleted in the morning anyway, usually a bit dehydrated and stuff like that. So that's generally quite a good time to get on supplements in that respect. But if you're fasting, if you're doing intermittent fasting or something, you got to be very careful with other supplements, because a lot of them have hidden calories in there somewhere. Or whenever you're taking anything, just always check the label and make decisions based on that, based on your lifestyle. So however you choose to do it is absolutely fine. Just make sure what you're doing conforms with what you're trying to do and what you're trying to achieve, because otherwise that disparity will screw you, basically. So multivitamin, nice and simple. Protein is a little bit different, because generally speaking, we have some kind of vitamin deficiency or mineral deficiency somewhere. It's very difficult unless you're constantly testing these things. It's not very often that you find someone who couldn't do with a couple of extra vitamins here and there. Generally speaking, D and maybe B or C are generally ones that we kind of need a little bit more of. But if you're eating quite a well-balanced diet, then that's not necessarily something that you're going to be your body's going to be craving. And as long as you're eating lots of good veg and lots of good meat, then you're all good. But that's not always the case. With protein, however, people generally think that they need to have protein shakes. It's one of those things. I used to be the same. As soon as I'm training, I'm I gotta have protein. I gotta have a protein shake or protein powder or blah, blah, blah. And it would just be a thing. And so in some respects, it's good to have protein just before, just after a workout. Although, according to some people, it's better to leave it for 2 hours and kind of starve yourself because of the protein right after your workout, because that kind of forces a better response and better absorption of the proteins afterwards. That's from people like Ben Greenfield, and who is the guy who wrote Bigger, Leaner, Stronger? Mark something. Anyway, the Mark man, him as well. Both suggest doing that, and they cite like a bunch of studies. I don't have those resources available to me. I'm not like pulling studies out of my pocket, but I listen to people like that who do pay attention to these things, so I generally trust where that information's coming from. But it might be worth something looking into, or maybe testing for yourself. And that's where a lot of supplementation kind of has its ups and downs. Like, you've got to test these things. It's not like a one rule for everyone situation. So I'm just checking in on the chats and stuff. It's not the same rule for everyone all the time. So whenever you're trying to do something like this, always test it for like a medium extended period of time, so you can actually see any results. Test one thing at a time as well, guys. So that is basically protein. Protein that I take, right? So I just eat loads of meat, I eat loads of good veg, and I have this supplement. I used to take this hemp protein. I used to buy it from Good Hemp, that company. Like, they make like the hemp milk and the hemp everything else, like the oil and stuff. But what I'd actually recommend you do, if you're just after protein, is to have My Protein's Clear Whey. I don't have a box here. I should have probably just brought one with me, but we got like a bunch of them in there. I've done a review of them on the YouTube channel. Danny features in it, so you can see her testing it out as well. And the good thing about these is that it doesn't have any other macros. So the problem with a lot of protein shakes is they don't just give you protein. They have like fat, they have carbs and stuff like that. And generally, if you're having protein as a supplement, you just want the protein because that's what you're trying to boost. Otherwise, it can skew your other macros and mess up with like your daily routine and the amount of food and the macros that you're actually looking for. And what you want to be doing is just, if you're having protein, then you just want the protein. You don't want to be messing around with everything else as well, because it's just more things to track, and it means you have to work harder to kind of figure it all out. So instead, if you're going to get protein, just have like the Clear Whey is fantastic for that reason, because it doesn't have any other macros, no carbs, no fiber, no anything. You just mix it up with a bit of water. You're not having it with milk or any other calories. And so it just makes it super simple. And you don't have to worry about all the sugar and stuff that's in like a lot of stuff that you just get from any old shop, like literally whatever it could be. So that's protein really. If you want like a more overall decent supplement, then like a meal replacement type thing, I recommend the hemp protein because it's got loads of fiber and it's got loads of omega oil, like the fatty acids, 3, 6, and 9. So that's just great for keeping those things balanced as well. And the soluble and insoluble fiber are great just addition to anyone's diet. Everyone needs a bit of fiber, guys, especially if you're not eating lots of veg. So I'd recommend that. So that's protein. So in terms of like actual training supplements, though, it gets a bit more complicated because it's really down to what you're trying to, what your goals are and what you struggle with in your workouts. So what you're trying to optimize for. Generally speaking, people try and optimize for muscle gain, but a lot of the times what they're actually after is better performance. So one main thing that I'd suggest doing, which I've been testing recently, which I never really tried before, is creatine. And the creatine I've got is unflavored. It is absolutely disgusting. It's bitter, and I shake it up with some water in the morning, and it is literally horrible. I wouldn't really recommend that to everyone because for that reason. But if you're trying to optimize, this helps with brain function. It helps keep lean body mass, especially if you're not training. So if you have a bit of time off, having some creatine is really good for that. It helps a lot of other aspects of your life, like sexual performance as well. So things like that are going to be really great to have as an all-round supplement and not just as a pre-workout type thing. Like, yeah, caffeine's great. It's a bit of a nootropic. Like, it helps your brain. It helps wake you up a little bit. But it doesn't have the same effects that creatine going to have. Creatine is one of the precursors to creatine phosphate, which is the precursor to adenosine triphosphate, or adenosine triphosphate is one of the two, ATP, which is literal muscle energy. Like, that is that's what contracts your muscle fibers. So it's instant energy for your body and a fantastic supplement, but it helps your body function a lot better as well. So definitely recommend that. That would be a great thing. Maybe get it flavored, unless you're trying to fast, in which case it's 0 calories. Have it unflavored for that reason, and you're just going to have to get it down in one go, basically. It's disgusting. So another training thing that loads of people take and is super popular at the minute is branch chain amino acids. And they're good. They are good. I'm not going to dispute that. But they're not like the be all end all. You can easily just have protein and then you get all these things. The idea for having the BCAAs is that they're ready for your body to like utilize straight away. So they're supposed to increase performance in your workouts. They're great to have within your workout or just before or immediately after to help replenish straight away. But what would be better for most people is essential amino acids, and there's a broader spectrum of amino acids. Generally, like a BCAA is just like 3 or 4 different types of branch chain amino acids, which is what BCAA stands for. And amino acids, just a heads up for those who don't know, are basically the minimalist versions of proteins, so the different kinds of proteins that are used to build our body. And essential amino acids are a group of, I think it's 9. I might be wrong. There might be like 11, but it's either 9 or 11. And I think it's 9 different amino acids that your body physically can't like synthesize itself. So having things like your tryptophan and I don't know what the other ones are, leucine and a couple of others, like there's a bunch of them obviously, but these things are going to just give your body the blocks that it needs to build all of its processes, which it can't synthesize by itself. So it's a great way of making sure you're having everything your body needs without having to worry about eating certain types of foods that contain these things. Do you want to do that research? Like, do you want to go looking around through everything and trolling the internet trying to find like what ways you can ingest enough essential amino acids? Probably not. It's much easier if you just buy a little pouch of essential amino acids and smash them down in the morning. Again, these are an easy thing to consume, especially if you're doing like a fasted thing or like a keto thing, because again, they're 0 calories. So they're perfect for those kinds of things where you're trying to fast, but you want to have something because like you're about to do a workout or something. Smash out some creatine and essential amino acids, and then you basically have a load of muscle energy and a load of the building blocks that you otherwise you can't make yourself. Like you're fueling your body with what it physically needs at that time to be able to perform well during the workout, even in a fasted state. And it will maintain that fasted state. So they're a really, really good way to kind of give your body energy and the stuff it needs before you break your fast. So I'd highly recommend them. I'm actually doing a concoction of both of those together, and they're absolutely disgusting because they're both unflavored. So what I tried today, all right, this is a bad idea, guys, but I'll just tell you anyway. I tried mixing it with an espresso, because espresso, again, nice shot of caffeine, no calories, just help get my brain engaged in the morning. I thought, maybe the strength of the coffee will help balance out or at least cover up or mask a little bit of those flavors. Apparently not. But yeah, it basically didn't do that. It literally didn't.